You're listening to the Retro Viking Podcast, the best retro gaming podcast on the market. Let's stream like it's 1998.
Hello everyone, and welcome again to the Retro Viking Podcast, Episode 2, Nestalgia. Now before we start delving into this week's episode, I want to tell you guys about an event that will be coming up on November 3rd, which is the Extra Life 24 Hours Gaming Marathon. So on November 3rd up until November 4th, people all around North America will be playing board games and video games in the hopes of getting donations for the Children's Hospital Network, which is a really good cause. And this is actually going to be my 6th year that I'll be participating, and I managed to accumulate about $2,000 in those 6 years. So my goal this year, and I'm going to need all of you guys to help me out, is I want to double that amount. I want to accumulate another $2,000 for the Children's Hospital Network. So there are 3 ways that you can actually help the Retro Viking achieve those goals. Number 1 is to become a team member and join the Retro Vikings directly on the Extra Life website. The second method is, if you have a few dollars to spare, is to make a donation to one of the Retro Vikings members. And last but not least, even if you cannot get or do not wish to make a donation, please help us spread the word. So please share about the Extra Life gaming event that will happen on November 3rd. It's for a good cause. It's a great reason to stay up 24 hours and to play video games and board games. So what are we going to be talking about this week? Actually, this week is not necessarily going to be a retro review, although the game that I will talk about today is about 8 years old, so it's not necessarily a retro game, but it's an amazing independent game. And the Retro Viking is not only about retro games, it's also about indie games. And this is a game that you might have missed if you were a latecomer to indie games, sort of like me. And this game is called Nestalgia. So that's Nestalgia, just like the Nintendo Entertainment System. So this game was produced by Silk Games and was released back in 2010. So it is officially 8 years old. So what exactly is this game all about? The best way that I can describe it is if you mix old school Nintendo Dragon Warrior with World of Warcraft. So imagine if MMORPGs were a thing back in 1988, and Nestalgia would probably be the top rated MMORPG. As soon as I heard about this game a few months ago, I was immediately hooked with the idea that an 8-bit MMORPG that actually looked decent was available on Steam, and I purchased it right away. And to my surprise, there's still people playing this game even after 8 years. So just to give you guys an idea, you start by creating your character and you have a few classes to choose from. You can select from the cleric, the wizard, the fighter. You also have the monk, which is my personal favorite. I call my monk Connor McGregor. And your party may have up to 3 characters at the same time. So what really makes this game unique is if you have other people, if you have friends or family that wants to play with you, this is a great 3-player game. And for the times when or if you prefer to solo it, this game offers is a companion system. You can capture and level up monsters which act basically like Pokemon. So there are many different species of monsters that you can capture, and of course each one has its own mechanics. Some are more tanky, some will act as a healer. I recommend as soon as you can grab a spider, make sure that you grab that spider. He's one of the best healers early in the game. So once you start gathering your party, you very early on stumble across the first town in game, and you manage to get your first quests. So quests can be as simple as bring me back wolf pelts, the typical MMORPG quest. There's even some puzzles that you need to solve. So the icy room puzzle or the mouse maze that you have to figure out, which is not very hard, but it still gives you an idea of the type of quests that you'll be doing all across this game. So for gameplay mechanics, this game has pretty much all the tools that you can expect to find in any MMO release. You have a chat feature, so you can chat with other players on your server. Eventually, you'll be able to join a guild. You'll be able to have access to a storage, your bank, as well as have access to shops, castles, dungeons, as well as farms where you'll be able to stock up on different kind of monsters that you capture. And monsters do level up, and you can also give them special abilities, so they have a leveling grid where you'll be able to choose which skills each monster will level up. The same as for your character, you'll be able to specialize in your class. So overall, this game is really fun. And when I was looking for ideas on what game to review, I basically went through my Steam list and I took a look at what were the games that I had the most hours played. Number 1 was Path of Exile, number 2 was Guild Wars, and number 3 was Nestalgia with over 60 hours. So this game goes for about $10 on Steam. You can regularly find it on sale, so my best advice is as soon as you manage to get a copy, do get it and give it a go. It's really a good game, and like I said, if you were like me, if you were into 8-bit RPGs, you're gonna find a nice little game that you'll be coming back to over and over again, trying different classes, trying different monster combinations. And especially the end game is actually pretty good as well. So again, for $10, you can do much worse than Nestalgia. So again, it is highly recommended. So what's going on in the Retro Viking world this week? Actually, I should mention next week, we are almost done editing the new Retro Viking monthly magazine, which should be coming out by the end of next week, by September 12th, which is next Wednesday, should be the release date. So if you are a Patreon member, you will get early access on Wednesday, September 12th. For everybody else, the monthly magazine will be coming out 1 week later by the end of September, by September 19th. And inside, you'll find a couple of game reviews. You'll be able to find an interview with the creator of Super Blood Hockey, which is another amazing independent game that you should all definitely look into, as well as a great article, a fantastic article about the old Canadian TV show Video and Arcade Top 10, and many more features. So what else besides the magazine can we expect in the next following days? Patreon members will be getting a special unboxing video of the Sega Genesis package that I ordered last week. So I've received it and I've been holding it off because I want to be able to share the first instance where I will be going back, taking that trip down memory lane, and I want to be able to share it all with you guys. So that's coming up soon. And also, we have a new tournament that started early September, which is the Not So Deadliest Warrior Tournament, which is on Facebook. Pretty much every day, you get 1 or 2 matchups of Not So Deadliest Warriors that duke it out into a death battle. And so far, we've seen a few interesting matches. One of the most popular ones was a matchup between Jean-Claude Van Damme's Guile character going up against the Super Mario Bros. 1980s Goomba character. And I don't want to spoil the results, but you guys can find this all on the Retro Viking Facebook group. So that's pretty much what you guys can look forward to next week, as well as the magazine and the unboxing video. I will try to be streaming maybe once or twice next week. We recently had a lot of fun playing the Jackbox party games with other Retro Viking members, so we might actually give it another go. I will let you know in advance, if possible, when that's going to be. I also have a few interviews that I am working on with, I guess we could call them big names in the gaming circle. We are presently awaiting on Mr. John Romero, the creator of Doom, to get back to us for an interview. And this week, I actually got a message from Mr. David Holm. He is the actor that plays Dawn in the fabulous Phantasmagoria game. He's the guy that runs after Adrian, that goes woo, and I might have to edit that out. And as a third surprise, I reached out to Dean Erickson, who is the actor that plays Gabriel Knight in Gabriel Knight 2: A Beast Within, which is, in my opinion, one of the best adventure games. It's definitely the best FMV game that I've ever played. And it's about 20 years old now? A little more than 20 years old, and it's still... The game is so amazing. Oh man, just thinking about it. Before I forget, there was one instance this week where I had to choose between working on the monthly magazine or streaming on Twitch. So I did pretty much what the Taco Girl would do and said, well, why not do both? So if you guys were on my Twitch channel, you might have seen me working on the magazine just as we were watching the excellent RoboWar movie from 1988. So for those not aware, RoboWar is a shot-for-shot remake of Arnold Schwarzenegger's Predator from the 1980s, and it's marvelous. It's a great movie. And that was so awesome that I think that we will be doing another movie night. So again, I will try to schedule it in advance and let you guys know. If you guys have any movies that you like to see, now they have to be what we can consider royalty-free movies, or in this case, a movie that's already on YouTube, since I don't want to get into any trouble. So if you have any suggestions, the cheesier the better. So please, not the Star Wars Holiday Special. Nobody wants to watch the Star Wars Holiday Special. Yeah, so that pretty much covers it for this week's episode. So again, Extra Life, make sure that you look into it. If you want to join the Retro Vikings, go ahead and click on the link that will be in the description below. If you prefer to do a donation, go ahead and hit that donate button, or just spread the word. Tell people about the podcast and about the Extra Life event that's coming up on November 3rd. If you do grab Nestalgia, or if you're already an active player, send me a message on Facebook or get in contact with me. I'm always looking for new players to be able to enjoy the game with. And that's about it. So with that said, again, I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in. Thank you for helping me make this project possible. Don't forget to visit our Patreon and all our other social media. So with that said, I hope you guys have a nice one. Take care, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Retro Viking Podcast. This episode was made possible thanks to our Patreon supporters. If you'd like to support and get involved with the podcast, become a Patreon today. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube.